Hey everyone, it's your favorite host, Marcus Norman of Gentleman Style Podcast Show. And today we have a very special guest coming to the show today. This man is a financial planner with Christy Capital Management. And over a decade of experience, this man has been helping people, specializing in helping federal employees plan for retirement, most importantly, and help everyone he can lay his hands on through his YouTube channel where he shares 2 videos weekly. Mel has garnered a loyal following of over 9,000 subscribers and is helping millions more across the globe, helping them figure out the hacks, the secrets, the trade secrets that corporate America doesn't want you to know. So, without further ado, help me welcome to the stage the incredible Mr. Mel Stubbs.
Millions. That sounds awesome.
Absolutely. We appreciate you for what you do. Financial planning is not easy, sir, but you've been doing this. You're a veteran in the game, and you've been doing this for quite some time. Why financial planning? Why finances? And why retirement? Because you could do anything you want. You have the incredible mind and the depth and the space to do anything you want. Why did you get into the financial planning space?
Well, I majored in finance, so I had to do something finance related. I always wanted to have a beeper and a briefcase. We don't really have beepers anymore. But it's great helping people when they want to retire and they don't know if they have enough or not. And you can help show them that indeed they do have enough. They can retire. They can do the things they really want to do if working is not it. And it's nice to give them that confidence and clarity where they can do that. So it's good stuff.
So I want to debunk one obvious myth. Is it possible today, right? Is it still possible in the near future, starting now? If someone gets started today, is it possible for them to retire well?
Yes. If it's living, below your means for a long enough time where you can save, yes. That's
Absolutely.
living below your means for a long enough time. It does snowball, it compound interest in the right direction. Yes, it can happen for sure.
Absolutely. What's the most overlooked decision? You've spoken to thousands of people, helping them figure out their financial retirement plan. What is the most overlooked decision retirees fail to consider, and how can it impact their financial future? What's one thing that you've noticed commonly over and over again that they miss?
Yeah. And so, it kind of comes, we got a new book. If you're a federal employee, federal retiree out there, we got a new book on the 10 decisions that can make or break your retirement. Probably 8 of the 10 apply to anybody, but probably the biggest one that we spend the most time on is tax planning. As far as people save money, it's usually traditional money. They got a traditional 401k or IRA or TSP if you're federal. And you save taxes now, you put money there, it grows. We hope it grows. When you take it out in retirement, it's like your paycheck and you get taxed on it. And so lots of people are not thinking about that. So depending on how much if you look at your balance and say, "Oh, I got $500,000," really you don't have $500,000. You and the IRS have kind of teamed up on that account, and a portion of it's theirs, and you got to pay them whenever you take money out. And so if tax rates change a whole bunch, the IRS's portion gets to be a lot bigger. And so a lot of people, they aren't thinking about that. They look at their statement and they see the balance and think, "Oh, that's my balance. I can go plan for retirement with that balance." But that's not really your balance. Some of that's the IRS's. You just hadn't paid them yet.
Absolutely. I want to backtrack a second here. You started off very strong in saying you got to manage the debt. Why? Help me process that. Why is it important for me to focus on balancing the debt and paying off debt first before retirement planning? Because here's what most people think, right? If I'm paying off debt, that's money I'm throwing and paying Uncle Sam or paying this credit card or paying to someone else when I'm losing time, right? The biggest thing with investing is time. And so why do you teach your clients that they need to pay off the debt first over prioritizing retirement investing?
Well, most of the people we're helping are kind of like already almost at retirement age. And so uh, for the people that aren't there and they are thinking, I would think if you've got some extra money, you might need to split up in kind of 3 different ways. Some of it's paying off the debt, some of it's saving for retirement. And if you are young and married and people are depending on you, some of it is getting life insurance. We had a bad case of, another one of my colleagues had somebody where they were young, they started funding an IRA and they died. and they did not have life insurance. And so like his young wife, they got like $2,000 or $3,000 from the Roth account, which like is great and all, but if he'd have had life insurance, she could have got like $1 million of life insurance. So don't forego the life insurance if you are young and a family needs you. But I mean, I would say you split it. Like some of it's repaying debt, some of it's saving for later. Otherwise, like some people use debt wrong, where they'll just spend their whole life paying off debt and show up at retirement never having saved anything. And you don't want to do that. So some of the paying off debt is, what was the debt for? Did you really need it? Maybe you should have made a different decision before you got the debt, as opposed to how you pay it off.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you taking the time to break that down. Have you ever advised the client, like I'm your client and I most recently made a significant car purchase. Have you ever advised the client to give back the car or sell the car so that they can put more into retirement? Because you said they're close to retirement age, they're not there yet, but
Yes.
we can make bad decisions anytime. It doesn't matter the age or anything, right?
Oh yeah, and you can have a lot of money making a bad decision. You can be like half broke and make a bad decision.
Right.
Most of the people we are working with, maybe it's like self-selection. We put out a lot of content on YouTube about like, if you've got money, these are the problems you're going to have. So a lot of the people that reach out to us, like they have money. And so, having them, you made a bad decision, return the car. What we more fall into the camp of is like, we got people that they got bunches of money and they've got the 20-year-old car and they got all this money. And like, ma'am, you need to go buy a car. Like, oh no, I can make it work. Man, I understand you're thrifty, and probably your thriftiness is what got you all this money, but you have enough. We got a little like squeezy toy here. If you get nervous, you can squeeze it. It's got the word enough on it. Like, ma'am, you have enough. Go buy your car. But I mean, yes, there are wiser decisions. Maybe a used car, maybe a smaller payment. I took a picture today. Earlier, I had to get my Cadillac worked on. I saw a new Expedition. Sales price $158,000 on a new Expedition.
Ooh.
I'm sure that they got to be selling them. That seems crazy to me. But yeah, most of our people, they've saved a bunch of money to where they're probably more on the thrifty side, and we're trying to help them realize this money is for them to spend. So let's encourage them to spend some.
Absolutely. So you're a financial advisor and you specialize in helping federal employees specifically. But the federal employee system already has a retirement plan, right? They already have the 401k or the TSP, or the TSP modified for government civilian. So in that instance, why hire a financial planner if the government is already providing me with my retirement package and my
So
benefits?
there is a pension plan with the government. It's probably, the federal government and the state might be the only ones left that have pensions. But it's confusing where it's, your number of years, when do you qualify, when you can retire, you got to have a certain number of years. How do you figure out what your pension is? When you get a pension, if you die, your spouse can get a certain portion of it. Which should you pick? Should you use life insurance instead of the survivor benefit? There's some decisions there. The feds they got federal health care that if they retire, they get to keep it with them, which is like awesome. So they have a decision: do I take Medicare or not? The average person, me, I got to take Medicare because at 65, I'm not going to have other health care. They do. So they got a decision of it. Do you do it? Do you not do it? Their system is somewhat confusing. Some of their problems are not everybody else's problems because they're going to have a guaranteed pension check the rest of their life. Other people don't. So regular people might be trying to create a pension. Like, I need to create a guaranteed payment for the rest of my life. The feds don't really, they got that. So some of the solutions that just a regular financial planner is, hey, you should do this. Well, for feds, you don't need that. You already have that taken care of. So it can be confusing to where wrong choices can be not as advantageous to you. So finding somebody that specializes in it, we think is worth it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mel Stubbs, y'all, on the Gentleman Style Podcast Show, spilling the financial tea, helping us get to a better financial place. Has there ever been an instance where, in your expertise, in the thousands of people that you coach and mentor to, has there ever been a time where you've advised someone to take money out of their retirement to pay off debt? Where you say, hey, you got about $5,000 left. You have this retirement plan over here. You can actually pull money out and pay it and get a title to your car now. Have you ever advised a client take money out of retirement early and pay off debt?
I mean, if you take it too early, there's a penalty. So, you know, either
Absolutely.
got to be retired or be 59 and a half. So usually we would like to avoid those. But yes, we've got people that like, you know, I want to retire. I got a certain amount of debt that I just don't feel comfortable with. We can show them with the math, like you have enough, like you don't have to pay it off. Lots of people might want to pay off their house, and we can, like, you know, if you pay off your house, a lot of times that's a big chunk. Like I need to take out $100,000 to pay off my house, and that's a taxable event for this year. So your income is going to be $100,000 higher. You need to do some math. But yeah, some people like want to, and if they want to, then we, you know, our job is to help tell them where to take the money from. Different accounts are taxed differently. And so depending on what they have, it might make sense to take from certain areas. It might make sense, like if you're taking it from your 401k IRA that's traditional, maybe you take some in December and you take some the next January and you kind of split it up onto 2 tax years. Like that can help. But yeah, for peace of mind, some people want to be debt free to retire. So if we can help show them how they could pay something off, be debt free, they can move up their retirement date. There are instances where, yes, that makes sense.
Absolutely. What about bucket list items? Because you said, hey, your money is here to spend, right? It's yours to spend. Do you recommend you using the money after retirement age, or is there ever opportunity to use some items, investment dollars, for bucket list items?
Yeah, I mean, we're just researching, working on a YouTube video on like the most critical years of retirement. You know, a lot of times it's like the first 5 years. In theory, when you retire, you probably are going to be at your best health. And so let's help people realize they have enough money. Let's go spend it on the younger, like, you know, maybe the first 10 years of retirement might be, we kind of call them the go-go years where, I mean, you can go do stuff, spend money. Then you kind of probably have a 10-year slow go years. And then you got like the no-go year where you probably aren't doing much. And so, yes, let's encourage them to spend it earlier. If you don't spend it, you're just going to be accumulating money. That's an option. If you just go buy a bunch of stuff, you're going to accumulate stuff. Or you can like create experiences and, you know, go on cruises or take the grandkids out or, you know, do stuff. But, you know, either you're going to spend it, you're going to give it away, or you're going to die and leave it to a beneficiary. And so let's, you know, what do you want to do with it? And let's help people realize that they can spend it. This is what you saved it for. Within reason, you can spend it. We'll help you keep it within the reason. But yes, go spend it.
Absolutely. Keep it in reason. I remember working in finance years ago, and it was a gentleman who owned a cleaning business, and he had worked this cleaning business. He had been self-employed for years and had amassed over like $10 million with his advisor. And then he had a son who his only son. He left an inheritance and told the son and showed the son, this is how much money I'm leaving you to continue on the business. Do you ever advise your clients to bring in their kids in the investment conversation, or should that be done later on, or kind of let them, you know, list them as a beneficiary, but don't actually show them like dollar amounts or cents?
Oh, no. So, I mean, we kind of come from a biblical point of view, kind of what's the Bible say about money. And a lot of times, preparing the next steward, we believe that like you're a steward of the money. It's not really yours, but, you know, it's, you get to steward it. Making sure the next steward is prepared is important. Making sure you pass on wisdom to the next steward before you pass on money. Because I think some of the studies show like within 2 or 3 years, the money you leave them is just gone. So let's pass on wisdom first. There's going to be a family meeting. So what if we have it while you're still alive, where you can give them the wisdom and like, talk over what numbers are, what you kind of want, what you see. Because for the people that avoid it their whole life and then die, there's going to be a family meeting when they kind of show, here's the will and here's where the money goes. Let's do it while you're alive so you can pass on the wisdom as well. And same thing, we got people that like, oh, I want to give some money to charity when I die. What if we do it while you're living? One thing, Ron Blue is a big, I guess, Christian financial advisor for 50 years, something like that. He has the thing, do your giving while you're living. So you're knowing where it's going. You know, like let's give some away early. Let's talk to the family early. I mean, maybe you want to give some to your beneficiaries early. But definitely it's probably better for you to be present at the family meeting about your finances, rather than waiting until after death.
Absolutely. The last thing you want to do, or anyone I feel it wants to do, is they got one foot in the grave, they're falling in and they're tossing the keys and say, hey, figure it out. Mel Stubbs is my advisor. And that's it. That's all the education. That's all they got to work with.
Yeah.
And now they come into you with all the statements, financial statements that they've collected, but they have no clue. And that's a problem.
Yeah, and there's the same tax planning we can do while we're helping the retiree tax plan. And should we pay some taxes now and move money to Roth so it's tax free, or should we not? There's even that, and leaving money to a beneficiary, like certain money, if it's just a regular old account, like not retirement money, just a regular old account, like at your death, there'll be a step up in basis, and so all the gains in that account kind of go away, and your beneficiary like starts over from scratch, and there's no tax gain like there. Like if you're going to leave it to them and you want to spend some money, like maybe we don't spend that money because that money is more advantageous to your heir. Let's spend some other money. So even doing some of that planning of, I want to take a distribution, where does it make the most sense to do that for me and for my heirs, and help them be on board with it? I think that makes more sense.
That does. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. I want to stay right here for a beat, because what you're saying is so profound and is absolutely something that I think we miss often. Can you give an example of a Roth IRA and where that would be beneficial to someone tax-wise and retirement-wise? And then can you give an example of a traditional IRA, and then give an example of what type of person fits for a Roth?
Yeah.
Can you share that with my listeners? Because I think that's absolutely powerful.
So traditional and Roth is just a wrapper. Like, so let's just say you have an account at Fidelity and you got some money. The traditional wrapper lets everybody know you have not paid taxes on this. Like when you got paid, you said, hey, paycheck, before you send it to me, how about send it to my traditional IRA? And you didn't pay taxes on it. And then it grows. And then at some point you pull money out. Well, now you got to pay taxes on it at your paycheck level, like at your tax bracket, not capital gains, but tax bracket. With a Roth, you get paid and then you go ahead and pay the tax. After you pay the tax, then you put the money in there. And that way, if somebody sees a statement, it's got Roth on it, everybody knows like the taxes have already been paid. So whatever this grows to, when you take the money out, assuming you're over 59 and a half and you've had the account for 5 years, everything's tax-free. You die, you leave it to somebody else tax-free. And so what makes one better than the other is the tax rate. Like today, if I put money into a Roth, I got to go ahead and pay the taxes. What tax rate am I at? In my experience opinion, if you're in the 10% tax bracket, that's cheap. You should do Roth. Like go ahead and pay your tax, do Roth. If you're in the 12% tax bracket, it's also cheap. You should probably go ahead and pay the tax, do Roth. When you get into the 22, I think it's cheap for where it's going to be. The government kind of has a spending problem. There's a math problem. At some point, they might have to raise taxes. So if taxes get worse, paying the tax now and putting in a Roth is better. When you start getting into, I'm in the 32% tax bracket, 35, 37, that's higher up there. Maybe you do traditional so you can get your write-off at 37%. And I'll try to pay taxes later because I think later might be better. If you're younger, I got kids starting out, got a small job. Let's be honest. I mean, either right out of high school, right out of college, they ain't making no money. Do Roth. But go ahead and pay your tax and put it in Roth because you probably ain't making that much. And you got like such a long time that it could grow tax-free. I would say for that reason, Roth. But that is the biggest difference is the tax bracket.
Absolutely.
What are you paying now? What do you think it'll be later? You want to choose what you think to be the lowest tax rate.
Absolutely. Thank you for breaking that down, because I think people miss that, right? Which one is good for me? I think, again, in the federal government, they just throw it at you and they leave it in your hands, right? They leave you to decide, hey, do you want to contribute to the Roth? Hey, you can maximize this, you can maximize that. And the person has to just say, well, they're giving it to me, I might as well take it. But is it truly better for you if you're a GS 13, a GS 12, making a higher income, right? And you're getting taxed at a higher percentage? You might want to defer those taxes later, right? Versus someone on the lower end, like you said, I'm a GS3 or I'm a GS4, I'm trying to, and I just started, I might not be paying my highest taxes right now. So let me pay that now because I expect my income to increase in the future.
I mean, just looking at the feature, like the Roth is better, but there's a cost of admission. Like to get it there, you got to pay the tax. So is it better? Yes. Well, what's the cost of admission? Admission. Well, 10%, 12%, 22, maybe 24. It's probably worth it. 32, 35, 37. It might not, it depends. I mean, for some people that like make bukus of money, 37% is probably pretty cheap. Back in the 50s, I think the highest tax bracket was 94%.
Woo!
Like, Ronald Reagan would do two movies a year and he'd stop because if he did any more, he'd be in the 94% tax bracket. And of course, he becomes president years later. And guess what? He lowers taxes. Go figure. Because he was paying them. So, tax brackets have been a lot worse. That's why, like right now, they're actually not that bad, which makes Roth better. Like, go ahead and pay it now because they're not that bad. They might get worse. That's the theory.
Absolutely. Mr. Mel Stubbs, spilling the tea on the Gentleman Style Podcast show today. Mr. Stubbs, I want to backtrack to the same breath we were talking about. We're introducing the family to your retirement planning and tax planning. One of the things that always comes to mind for me is that how does what we do? This is how I feel, and you can share your personal opinion. That's what I'm really looking for. What we do early on affects us later. So who you marry is absolutely 100% important because that can affect your financial future, your future overall, but your financial future down the road. Do you personally feel, this is not financial or tax advice, do you personally feel someone should have a prenup to protect as a part of their retirement planning to protect that future income and to protect that retirement benefit down the road?
So let me preface by saying I married my high school sweetheart. We got married at age 20, which now looking back is like, why in the world did we were allowed to get married at age 20? But we did. So I mean, like we didn't have anything. So there was no need for prenup. We didn't have anything. I mean, I can see how the later people get married, the more established they are. If they do have, if there's a big income difference, I mean, I could see why there's a discussion there.
Absolutely.
I mean, I do think that, marriage is marriage, lifelong. You're not supposed to get divorced, all that type of stuff. I mean, so like in that case, like, why would you have one? But I do realize it happens a lot.
Especially in the military.
Yeah, I mean, probably the separation, and yes, I can see the benefit and the need of it, but I vote for the get married young. Get married young when both of you ain't got nothing,
And you're on an even playing field.
Also, I believe, I bet a good chunk of the people that get divorced, if they really think about it, they never should have got married in the first place. There were probably all kind of red flags. I think the divorce rate would be much better if, like, the people that know they shouldn't get married, like, just didn't get married. But there again, just an opinion.
Absolutely, and I appreciate that opinion. It's so paramount, right? Because it people don't think about that. Some would say, well, if I'm even considering a prenup, I shouldn't get married, right? Or others would say, well, I love this person, they're the love of my life, but when you met me, this was something I already was important to me before I even met you, and I want to protect that future that had nothing to do with you prior to you meeting me. And so Mel Stubbs is my advisor, and I mention it because you tell me as a financial planner, if I come to you and I say, Mr. Stubbs, sir, I've had 6 divorces, right? My track record is not good. Would you? I imagine a part of that financial retirement planning is the next one, sir. You need to protect your retirement. You need to have something in place. Maybe not a prenup, but something in place. I can't imagine you would tell me, hey, go ahead and love and marry her and put my financial retirement at risk. Would you say? I know that's hard. I know
not every client is a good fit to work with. Some people don't think I'm a good fit. We don't work. That's fine. It also could be the other way around. That seems, people joke. Seems like no matter where I go, I seem to bring on people like, they make fun of me. We laugh. I'm self-deprecating. It's awesome. I was like, man, everywhere I go, this happens. And somebody says, well, everywhere you go, you go. Like, Well, there you go. I guess everywhere I go, I mean, if you're on your sixth marriage, I mean, the problem might be you. Maybe you. I mean, of course, we come from a biblical perspective, so let's help
Yes,
you
sir.
manage your money by the Bible. But like, hey, don't get married. Just I don't like the question, Marcus. I don't like the
Sorry.
question.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And I
No,
appreciate you feeling through that with me. Right.
I
That's
mean,
hard.
another personal experience. My dad just 80. I guess he was 83 a couple of days ago. I mean, a couple of years ago, he was married to my mom for 54 years, I think. She passed away with cancer.
I'm
If you
sorry.
look at the research, men don't like to be alone. So men want to get remarried. So he got remarried. Is there a prenup? Yes, there was. So obviously I was okay for, certain situations. Yes, there should be one. Um, so
So I'll share me. I'll put myself on the example train here. I think I tell men from a biblical perspective, you need to take the time to court this young lady and get to know this young lady, and because it's one of the most important decisions of your life. And biblically speaking, we want to be wise. We want to be like our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and we want to be wise. And so this marriage decision should be wise. We're also dealing with the fact that there's not as many prearranged marriages anymore, right? Mom and dad have kind of stepped away from, the selection process, right? And they're kind of leaving you to your own devices, which
right.
I think we should go back to, right? I think we should go back to, I'm going to set my son and my daughter up on purpose with opportunities to connect with quality
Yeah.
potential partners.
What I'm looking for in a son-in-law is probably not what my daughter's looking for in a husband. And I want input. Maybe that's controlling stuff, whatever. But she's like, I think I got a new guy. Well, invite him over. Well, it's too soon. I need to decide if I like him yet. Well, let us help you decide. I mean, maybe we can see some things that man, this guy's good. You should overlook whatever you don't like. And this guy's good, or this guy's not good. So
If
I want input myself.
Absolutely, and I do too. I am right there with you, Mrs. Stubbs. I want input. I want to sit down again from the financial. I'm gonna push back to the financial. Retirement can also be legacy, right? It can be something. I'm retiring, and let's say I don't use all the money in my retirement plan, right? And I die, and there's money left over. Retirement can now turn into a legacy plan. And that's why I think you said, let's bring in the family and have the conversation while you're still alive, so the family can see the whole plan with this money. Hey, I'm probably gonna outlive this $50 million, right? Because I've been working and living off of $50,000 a year. I'm 80 years old. I'm probably going to outlive this money. So let's see the plan and talk the plan out with Mr. Stubbs and his team, right? And it's going to involve maybe one, even better, maybe two generations past me if we do this right. And so I like to bring up these conversations because I think they don't enough come into the retirement conversation, right? Planning, it's retirement planning, it's tax planning, it's a plan nonetheless. And so I really enjoy having you feel that through me, and again, sticking to biblical principles. It is wise for a man to leave his generations of legacy and wealth. When when the king prayed, God, he didn't pray for riches. He didn't pay, what's the book, Richest Man in Babylon. He didn't pray for riches. He prayed for wisdom. And everything else followed biblically that he was entitled to, and his heirs were entitled to, because he was wise. And so I want to make my family wise by getting my family involved with Mr. Stubbs, so we can all talk about it and we're all smarter and wiser because there's a plan.
I absolutely agree with that. The one problem with the story, if you keep reading, Solomon did not finish well.
He did it.
He did. That's the problem. Once you have enough, you kind of get self-sufficient, or, like, oh, look how great I am. And then, finishing well is important. He had the wisdom, he had the wealth. Something went awry. He did not finish well. But to try to finish well yourself, it would be good to help try to set up the next steward, help them set up. It seems like the people that don't earn it don't value it quite as much. And so several generations down, it's not the same as the person that earned the money the first time. And so passing the wisdom on as best you can, even though lots of it will not be maintained. I mean, they will lose it, but definitely wise to do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is incredible. Speaking of financial plan, we got to pay some bills, y'all. We are going to go to a quick commercial break and pay our bills. We got sponsors to play. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Are you a local business looking to offer your customers easy access to cash without having to travel miles? We're here to help. At Norman Legacy Investments, we provide free ATMs with free installation that provide a suitable investment for your business. Even better, we offer you some profit sharing and handle everything from start to finish. Just reach out to us today to schedule a free consultation.
Hey guys, this is your boy Marcus Norman of Gentleman Style Podcast Show, and we are here in Patrick Henry Mall, Newport News, Virginia. We're actually here for something unique just inside. Something new, brand new that we want to explore together. You guys ready? All right, here we go. Hey boss. Heard you are an athlete, man. See you at the mall every day. We are at Patrick Henry Mall, living up, and we are talking about CBD. But first off, the normal thing that we all deal with is joint pain, back pain, suffer from everything.
Neck pain too.
Neck pain? You got some neck pain?
All the time, man. I'm getting up in age, you know what I'm saying? We're not young no more.
I'm with you. I'm totally with you. Bruh, CBD helps with that exact same thing. Neck pain, back pain, joint pain, all the pains, everywhere pain, right? And so that's what CBD does. That's what we're here to help you and me do. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
Thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
All right.
CBD is one of the most powerful cannabinoids because all it's focused on is the health and wellness. We're talking helping people with anxiety, depression, insomnia, sleep deprivation, all provided. CBD works with the natural mechanics of your body without the crazy side effects of Western medicine. So these products are here to actually align your body and get it back right so we can actually have a better quality of life. And that's what CBD does. We are back to the Gentleman Style Podcast stage, and we have the incredible, amazing Mr. Mel Stubbs here on the Gentleman Style Podcast stage. We are having an incredible conversation around tax planning and retirement planning, and what he and his company does is, and his YouTube channel. You can find this information. You can get him anywhere. Right now, he's here with us, spilling the tea on. You can find him on iHeartRadio, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Facebook business page, LinkedIn, Ghana Radio, iHeartRadio, even Audible. Anywhere you get your podcast, he is here today, spilling the tea on Gentleman Style Podcast Show. And he shares some incredible insights on tax planning, things to consider. He wrote the book on tax planning. And so we're going to dive into this segment now. What can audience members expect? And where can they get a copy of the book? What should a reader expect when they buy their first copy?
Yeah, so you go to christycapital.com/decisions, and you can get it's going over the 10 decisions. I mean, you probably need to be a federal employee. It is somewhat specific to federal employees. But I'm arguing there are 10 decisions you got to make at retirement. Let me go through the list, like the when to retire decision. That applies to anybody. The survivor benefit decision, that might be kind of just federal. If you die, how much of the pension's left? The company life insurance decision. If you've got life insurance with your company and you retire, it kind of either goes away or it gets crazy expensive. Do you need life insurance? Should you get outside? You've got a decision there. The what to do with your 401k. In the federal world, it's TSP, but should you leave it where it is, or when you retire, should you move it somewhere else? A lot of times, if you want help, if you want to work with somebody, if you want to do some of these extra planning things, you probably have to move it out. That's a decision. We've sort of talked about the tax planning decision. Do you leave it traditional? Most people's money is going to be traditional, where they're going to pay taxes later. Should you leave it there? Should you move it to Roth? What does future taxes look like? A good solid plan will kind of show you that and let you see, should I wait, pay taxes later, or should I do it now? Check into that. The Social Security decision. When do you turn it on? You can turn it on early at 62. You can wait all the way to age 70. When does it make sense for that? Some people with that decision look at, when do I get the most money for me? Like, at what age do I need to turn it on so I get the most money? That's one way to look at it.
Yeah.
The other people look at it is, if I turn on Social Security early, I might not touch my other money, and my other money can grow. So if you're looking for beneficiaries, your beneficiary might say, hey, turn on Social Security early so that the money grows. There's a decision there. Long-term care decision. Do you need long-term care? Do you get long-term care? That decision, and whether you should work with an advisor. What benefits does working with somebody bring? I would have an argument for whatever is unique about you. Like, if you're a federal employee, you should work with somebody specific that does Fed stuff. If you are a dentist that's trying to retire, sell his dentistry and leave, there's a financial advisor out there. All he does is work with dentists that do that. Find somebody that understands what you're going through. And then last, the what to do in retirement decision. Not everybody has a great plan for what to do, and we want to make sure that is great. So a chapter on what to do in retirement.
And where can we get the book?
ChristyCapital.com/decisions. When you go there, it takes you straight to the Amazon link. So it's Amazon. You got the electronic version or paperback. Hey, paperback. You can go search, your first federal retirement, but probably easier, ChristyCapital.com/decisions will take you straight to the Amazon page.
Absolutely necessary. Absolutely necessary. Choosing a financial advisor, sir. That was a great point, and that's a great segment. I love how you break down the book in steps and chapters so that people can know, because this is what I see with the book, right? I see the book, me utilizing the book and then having cliff notes to refer back to later on, because it's not just a one-stop shop. It's not like, okay, I read through it and I'm done. It can actually be something I can refer to often, because something that's relevant for me today may change. And I now need to go back to the book and see what the book talks about and say, hey, if your situation changes to this, you might want to consider these options as well. So I love that you break it down into segments like that, because that's what I do with books like yours, is I turn them into cliff notes so I can refer to them later on in my past.
Yeah. And hopefully if somebody is approaching retirement and they read this, they're like, man, I didn't know there were 10 decisions. And you start going through some and you're like, well, yikes. I didn't realize there were other options in this decision. I thought I had one decision. It turns out I got 3 or 4 options. Well, which one's better for me? And so, some books are out there are very technical of, for a federal pension, here is how you determine your pension, is this formula. And a lot of those things kind of change over time. This is more about the decision. So it shouldn't become outdated. There's no numbers in it to be outdated. It's more thinking around this decision. What are the options? What might work best for you? You pick the right one. If someone reads it and realizes, wow, this is a lot of decisions, maybe I do need help. Obviously, we'd love to be the one to help you, but get help from somebody if you realize you need it.
Absolutely. Mr. Stubbs, I want to ask you this, because I think this is one of there are 10 decisions that people need to make. I think one of the most important decisions that people need to figure out, because I feel like people are not doing this, is they need to figure out their magic number. They need to figure out what the number is to say, okay, what I'm currently doing, I am way off track. Prime example, and it was the most heartbreaking thing. I worked in the federal government, and this young lady, she's 60, she was late 60s, and she had worked in the VA. She was like a GS-13, and she had she had the pension, but she contributed to the government employee civilian TSP fund. Mm-hmm. And for 30 years, all she had amassed, because she was only putting money in the G fund of the TSP, and for 30 years, and now mind you, when she started, she didn't have that much money. She wasn't a GS-12, she wasn't a GS-13. When she started, she was like a GS-2, a GS-3, and so she only contributed $100. So I think it was scary. For 20 years, she had only contributed the same $100 every paycheck, even though her salary was going up and she was getting promotion after promotion. She never went back to her retirement and said, I'm going to miss my number. I'm going to miss my mark because I'm only contributing $100. And now it's 30 years past and she's now realized I only have $50,000 in this retirement fund. So, sir, what is something that federal employees, how can they calculate their magic number for retirement so they know I need to get with Mr. Stubbs right away because I'm missing the mark?
Well, yeah. So at our website, christycapital.com, you can go, there's a FERS calculator. And like FERS is the Federal Employee Retirement System, where you can go in and put, this is my high three, this is my salary. It will tell you what your pension will be, in a ballpark. Hopefully it's close. Then you can go to ssa.gov. That's the Social Security website. Put your, log in. I mean, this is where you're going to go to turn it on. So you need to have an account. They can tell you at 62, this is what you'll get. At 67, this is what you'll get. At 70, this is what you'll get. And so it's kind of those two numbers along with what do you think you're going to spend in retirement? And a lot of it depends on that. We've got people with like not that much money, but I want to retire and spend $3,000 a month. Okay, we can make that work. I've had people that got $2 million, and when we retire, we want to spend $15,000 a month. Oh, even with your $2 million, that might not work. And so a lot of it depends on how much you want to spend. But it's putting. For the people that we're working with, we will do a full financial plan, first pension, Social Security, what's coming in, what you're spending out, what assets you have, and it will tell, do you have enough or do you not? If you want to spend that number, you might need more money. If you can, lower what you're spending, we can make lower numbers work. But the number is important. Like, what TSP number do I need? Like, that's great, but it really just factors into the whole decision. And a lot of it's dependent on what you're spending. So that's something we need to get a handle on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you said something that stuck out. Saving not enough is obviously a huge red flag, huge problem. We got to fix that. But is there such a thing as saving too much for retirement? Is there such a thing?
Yeah. We've had some people that, like, we do a plan for them. They want to keep working. They don't have to, but they want to. And they're maxing out the TSP, contributing the most they can. And we're showing them, like, hey, you're going to die with $10 million. And they say, well, that's not really a goal of mine. I don't really want that much. Okay, well, are there other things that right now, like if you weren't contributing so much to the TSP, what would you use this extra money on? And they start listing off like, oh, well, I'd help my daughter with this, right? I mean, they had good reasons of what they would do with the money. Like, man, you have enough. You have more than enough. You don't really need to be maxing out the TSP at this point because you have so much there. Like, it's snowballing. It's doing great. Like, you could lower your contributions to the 5%. You still get your 5% match. Let's do that. But like, you now might have extra money that you could fund other things that you'd rather do because like your retirement is funded. You don't have to do the higher amount. We have had that on several occasions.
Love that. I love that. And thank you for breaking that down because it's again, these are the conversations we're not having. Is there such a thing as saving too much for retirement? And you said it right on the head. Oh, yeah. What do you want? What do you want retirement to look like?
It comes back down to the word enough. Like, how much is enough? Yeah. And for some people, they got big money. Like, how much is enough? Okay, double it. Let's establish a financial finish line. Like, we don't need, like, we have enough for this. You don't need, like, anything else you do. Let's give away. Let's give we don't need to just accumulate just to accumulate. Like, what do you want to do with it? What's the purpose of it? Because you have more than enough.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is incredible. And the reason why I'm highlighting this moment, y'all, is because this is significant, right? Because it's very significant that you know what that number is. I remember a friend of mine, we were talking about financial and retirement planning. And her mindset is, if you come to me talking about retirement and financial planning, let's put as much money away as possible. And I said to her, listen, if you tell a millionaire they don't care about that. If I'm a millionaire, I don't need to leave my spouse a bunch of money because she already has money. She already has the businesses, everything. She has a life insurance. So if you tell me as a financial plan, hey, let's put more away, let's max out my TSP, that doesn't make sense if you're talking to a millionaire. What that millionaire is thinking now, or what they care about mostly, is tax savings and tax planning and tax reduction. And I said that to her and she didn't get it. She completely lost it. And she was like, no, you need to put as much money away as possible. That's gonna scare away a millionaire. because he doesn't care about money leaving behind because he already has enough and he's insured that. What are your thoughts, Mr. Stubbs?
Well, that's where some of the training from the biblical point of view is, I mean, there is such thing as enough. I think from the world's perspective, it's never enough. It's always, I need more and more and more and more. At some point, like this is enough. Like your lifestyle does not need to keep increasing at certain levels. And so like, if you deemed like this is enough, what do you want to do? Like, what do you want to impact? I mean, you hear of all the super rich people where they turn into philanthropists because I mean, they've realized like, duh, they got enough. So like, let's be impactful. Are there any things that, has impacted your life that you would like to either spend your, like retire and spend your time, donate your time, or like start donating money to? I mean, there are some tax savings in charitable giving and ways of giving money charitably that also saves you on taxes. But I mean, the first thing is we need to determine what enough is. And then once we get there, what do you want to do with the excesses? Not everybody is of that mindset. They're all more and more and more. And like more is not always better.
Absolutely. Do you have any tips or strategies for inflation, to hedge against inflation? Or do you have any tips or strategies that you utilize to help a client prepare their retirement planning and make sure that their money is keeping up with the rate of inflation?
Yeah. So one of the big problems with the scenario you mentioned where the person was putting money in the G fund and after 30 years only had 50,000. The problem with the G fund, it doesn't earn all that much and it doesn't necessarily always keep up with inflation, where like the prices grow at such a level that your money better keep growing too. Now the first pension goes up they have cost of livings, but it's usually not quite what inflation is. I think Social Security has cost of living, but it's usually not kind of all of inflation. So we definitely need your money to be growing at such a pace that even after inflation, you still need to be earning something. And so for some people that are overly conservative and they just like, I just don't want any of my money to be aggressive. Like we need a certain amount of aggressiveness to make sure we're earning enough to offset that inflation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There you have it. There you have it. What about any tricks for preparing for the unexpected? Do you like emergencies? You can't, that's hard, right? You can't predict all the emergencies you're going to encounter in the federal system or after you retire. But do you have any tips or strategies that you use that you can share that how people can prepare for unexpected costs?
Yeah. So a lot of times when we're helping people with their money, we're figuring out how much do they need to take, like a distribution every month, and like whatever they think they might be taking out, spending in the next, year or so, we want to have extra conservative and like not have it in the stock market, so that if the stock market does just take a nosedive, hey, the next year or two of your spending was not in the stock market. So like, hopefully it will come back by the time we need to dip in there, but like we've got enough conservative money to like last you. And so having enough of that kind of money helps. Having enough liquid money. I mean, you've heard of some of the people where like, I'm worth a whole lot, but I can't really get my hands on any of it because it's all tied up. Well, that's when you have an emergency come up and then it's a real problem. So, I mean, just thinking ahead of the different accounts I have, how should they be invested? The account that you might dip into first might need to be on the safer end. So, I mean, people got savings account or money markets or a CD at the bank or something that like it can't lose. I mean, that might be a great place for your emergency money, but having enough liquid money that you can get to, and then having the right amount that is conservative enough so that any of my spending, for the next 5 years, all my spending is conservative. Now, the rest of the money might be really aggressive, but you don't need it till you're 6 or you're 7. And so that kind of justify why it would be aggressive.
Absolutely. I love this. Love this. Mr. Stubbs, you have been absolutely incredible, amazing, and just a wealth of knowledge, sir. You have shared so many nuggets this episode, so many tips, so many mindset shifts, because that's where it starts. You have to change your mind. Sir, but if you had one more nugget in the hat to that young man, because you brought this up earlier about, hey, you're young. If you're young, saving for retirement, do it, right? Get started as soon as possible, because this is a timing thing just as much as is a financial planning and tax planning thing. It's also timing. And so if you had one more nugget in the hat for that young boy, that young girl who feels like their future, there's not going to be any money left. So security is going to go away. There's not enough, right? That famine mindset, that catastrophizing mindset, what would you say to that young boy, that young girl right now in the audience watching you right now?
Learn and research more on contentment, like kind of being happy where you are. Like when you get the raise, does your lifestyle have to increase every time you get a raise? Like sometimes it does. Like you get a family, I need a bigger house. Okay. But like, does your lifestyle have to keep creeping up and up? Can you kind of hang tight where you are so that as you earn more, you can save more? Not only will you just be happier being content, but I kind of understanding that the theory of it will allow you to save more because you're not always, every time you get a raise, you got to spend more. Well, there might be a better way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a better way. There's a better way. Love it. Love it. Love it. You all, we have to let Mr. Stubbs go. We have to let him go. He has many more people to help, many more lives to change, and many more financial planning experts to help federal employees get to a better retirement plan. And so, Mr. Stubbs, I want to say this to you publicly. Thank you for what you do, sir. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
And lastly, how can people connect with you? How can people connect? The train has already left the station, but it's not too late to hop on board. How can people find you and get connected?
Go to ChristyCapital.com. There's a little thing like talk to an advisor. If you click that, put your information, it's most likely coming to me. Put that you heard us on here, mention the podcast. We would love to talk. We're on YouTube as well, but ChristyCapital.com is probably the easiest place.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Connect, y'all. Like we end every show. Take care of your friends, take care of your family, and always take care of business. And for our audio listeners, that's ChristyCapital.com. Check them out. Go to the About section and get and contact them right away. We love you guys. Bye.